Welcome back to the Heart and Mind of Business. This week, we're going to talk about something really important for the brand new startup entrepreneur. We're going to talk about demystifying the website, the scary, big, overwhelming first step starting your business. You will not want to miss this. See you in just a minute. Here we are once again with the Heart and Mind of Business. We are talking about the website for that new entrepreneur. Now, I know from experience, and even though it's been many, many, many years since my first website, how overwhelming and frustrating and scary having your first website can be. Everything from what platform do I use? What words do I say? How much am I going to spend? Am I going to build it myself? Am I going to have someone else build it for me? Then what do I do when I need changes made? It's just this huge, scary, overwhelming thing, isn't it?
It's like getting tangled up in a spider's web.
I feel that way.
Getting into a maze where you don't know where the exit is.
Yes. Yes, I've experienced that when you're knee deep or neck deep, shall we say, in trying to make something work because you're trying to do it yourself, and just be so overwhelming and think, oh my word, what am I doing? Right? You haven't even opened the doors to your new business yet, or maybe you have, and now you're trying to get your website going. Now you're trying to do two things, right? It's overwhelming, isn't it?
And you need one. You can't not have one.
Yes, you can't not.
Can't not have one. Everybody will look for you. Everyone will look for you online. They'll look to see who you are, what you've got to offer, anything about you.
Yeah.
And of course you want that. But where do you start? So my journey is shorter than yours.
Okay.
2015 was my first website, and I set up with Weebly purely because my husband had used Weebly with a business and that he was doing some work with. And I thought, he knows a little bit about that. So we just set one up on there. And to be honest, Weebly and Wix, there's other different ones that are very similar to that. It was quite, reasonably priced. It was easy enough to set up, drag and drop, no coding required, unless you wanted to integrate something where you could just copy the code and put it in. So that was my starting point of learning and understanding websites. But even just understanding how to, it was then the what do you put in it?
Right.
That was. So what was your starting point?
A really long time ago. So I couldn't even tell you the year, quite frankly. It's been that far back. I bought my domain name, clararose.com, from GoDaddy, and they offered a kind of drag and drop idea, not like we know today at all, not at all. But you picked a template for sure, and then you could modify within the template, change some colors, change out a picture, those kinds of things. Nothing like the functionality of today. But I remember it being almost an overwhelming, I wanted to do it myself because that's just my nature. So I bought the domain, signed up for the website, and I just spent so much time in trying to get everything to look right, to be spatially correct. And it was, I didn't have anybody helping me, but thankfully, GoDaddy has always been and still is one of those where your support is 100% free, and they always answer the phone, and they will either do it for you or do it with you. I'm totally a do it with you kind of person. Don't do it for me. I want to see you do it. I want you to tell me how to do it because I want that knowledge for myself, right? So I don't have to call your self back again, right? Right? So I spent a lot of time, I was on customer support constantly while I got that up and running. Now, not every platform, especially nowadays, is that way. Right? You have got to either go through their chat process or email for support, and the frustration of waiting 24 hours for someone to get back with you about a change. Yeah, totally wouldn't fly with me. So that was my very first experience. It was okay, but it was years it was before the 2000s. I'm just going to say that, a long time ago. Since
Yeah.
then, I've had many other experiences with different platforms, but that was the most difficult, my very first one.
Hmm. But I tell you, the bit that I liked about doing it myself is, one, that it was cheaper. When
Sure.
you're starting off, sometimes you don't want to be spending an awful lot of money on a concept or a new idea, or you're getting started. You
Right.
want some information out there, but you don't necessarily need in all singing or dancing. It depends what
Right.
you're creating and what you're going for. So I wanted the control over it.
Mhm.
And I wanted to think, if I was putting on an event, so that I could put the information on there and it would be available. I wouldn't have to wait weeks or months for a developer to be able to do that for me.
Which is a big deal, especially back then, right? Years ago, they were really nothing more, like when I started, websites were nothing more than an online brochure, right? They
Mm.
didn't do fancy things. There wasn't, unless you had big money and you were a big company, it didn't do anything. Right? It was literally just an online informational brochure. But things have changed, right? Now we have interactive things going on, and little bubbles that pop up and say, "Hi, can I help you?" And just, it's definitely a different, more interactive experience now than in the past, which makes it a wonderful time to have a website.
It does. And I found the key thing for me that I really found is that when I was starting off on my business, because I transitioned from the corporate world, my business evolved and it changed and I changed. So actually that whole way of being flexible, that my logo didn't come at the start, my color scheme wasn't there at the start, I was doing what I thought looked right. I was learning about how to trim and size images so that you get a consistency. Videos, when I first started, you couldn't put a video on there. It was, you'd have to put it onto YouTube and then connect it. So you were integrating things and learning about all those different pieces and what people see on a mobile compared to a laptop. More people were laptop, now it's more mobile. So you need different views, but there's so many different systems that help to create that shift between what somebody sees on a laptop or a tablet versus a mobile. But I think the thing is not to think that it's got to be perfect. It's not your end result. That you will evolve as your business evolves and your website will evolve. So it's just get out of the need to have something that's got to be amazing. It's going to be good enough.
Mm.
Good enough
There's
to explain who you are and what you're offering.
to give you someplace digitally that
Yeah.
people can go and connect with you and learn more about you. There's actually, it's been a couple years ago now, but I watched a shift from the bigger, 5, 10, 20 page websites to a simpler one page, scroll down, which I think is less information that I want to put out into the world. But I've seen a lot of that. It's like a move to, here's everything that you could need to know on one scroll down page. You can't do anything but learn about me or connect with me. So I think there's that leaves us some latitude, if you will, about what we can get up there and still look professional and get started. Because isn't that the point, right? The point
Yeah.
isn't to spend the next 6 months putting together a website so then you can launch your business, right? The point is to 8 ways to mind your own business is really about these 8 ways, these 8 steps, bam, you're off and running, right? Even before the 8 ways are done, you're launched, your business is live. So I think you have to look at all of those things when you're thinking about your first website. How can I, as quickly as possible, get myself out there and get my business launched? And there are tools for that.
There are. And the one mistake I wrote, especially when I'm thinking about the writing that you put on a website, was I put more about me. But actually, you've got to put about them. They've got to identify with what you're putting and think, she does something that can help me.
Right.
And to use more of the you can make a difference, or you can get, or you can have, or rather than this is what I can offer.
Right. It
So,
has to be about the benefits to them,
yeah,
right? They don't
yeah,
care where you went to school, mostly, right? They don't care
no,
how many degrees you have or letters behind your name, mostly, right?
no,
They want to know what's in it for me.
they do. Yeah,
They really do.
they want to know what's in it for me, what can they offer, what are they doing, and at least have something that looks, that gives you some sort of authority.
Right.
You
Professional
know,
looking.
professional, exactly, professional looking, where your images line up, where you maybe have a look promotion of video, if it's your services, a picture of you because I want to see you.
Mm.
So I started off, just coming back to the basics of a website, I started off with Weebly and then I transitioned across to Kajabi. So I know you use Kajabi too,
Yes.
because we both offer our courses, an online platform. So
Right.
my website and everything is on Kajabi. But you've used WordPress too, haven't you?
Yes, yes. So I transitioned from the GoDaddy site to WordPress pretty early on. I've
Mm.
used a couple of other early on platforms. Market America had a great platform. I used that for a while, but WordPress gave me ownership. And
Mm.
at the time, that was really important for me. 100% control. Self-hosted WordPress still gives you the most control. Right? Nobody else has any say. As long as you pay for your hosting, nobody has any say over what you do with your website. And I liked that. But the downside to WordPress is it's all about the plugins, right? So if you want it to do something special, you use a plugin. Often plugins are free, which is also lovely, but it's somebody else's thing. You're plugging into your own website. So if they stop supporting that plugin breaks. There's always a bit of that with WordPress, right? There's always a bit of that stuff going on where things happen because you bunch of different free sources all coming together, not playing nice all the time. And when I decided that I was going to add digital training, it made good sense to find a platform that was all in one. And I tried a few and I settled on Kajabi for the value that it brought, right? I could build my courses there. I could also build my website there. And that's where I am today. It
And all
works
the
well. Yeah.
marketing, landing pages, everything.
Email, everything is all in one
Yeah,
place,
yeah.
which I like that. And even though I don't 100% own it, as long as I pay for my platform, I get to do pretty much anything that the platform will allow. So it's a little bit of a compromise on the control thing for me, but it's worth it to have everything in one place that all plays nicely together.
Yeah. So I would just suggest, if you're setting out looking and getting a new website, is to think about whether it's something that you want control over or whether you're willing to pay for somebody else to do that for you. Because I know even with the simple ones, it can feel daunting when you're starting.
Mhm.
And knowing what information, how to lay it out, what different pages, how to integrate anything. But things are becoming so much easier. Or you could have a look at like the all-in-one platform like we use, and think about it that way. You know, where is it you want to go? What do you want to use your website for? Is it just for information? Is it a store for people to buy things? Is it a community? What is it you want it for? And then explore the different options that are out there.
Yes, because where you go really depends on what you want it to do for you. It's a tool, right? Your website is a tool to give you exposure for your business, right? What do you want that tool to do for you? And then you can shop to the different places, the different options intelligently. Right? Say, I just need a online brochure, one page. Okay, that narrows it down. You're not going to need some of the other tools, so you don't even have to look at those tools. And guess what? You could set one up today, but next year you could switch, right? That's the beauty of it. You don't have to stick with it forever and ever until you die, right? Use it as a tool until you find another tool. Leave that first website as is functioning for you while you create something that is better, bigger, longer lasting, your new brand, whatever it is. So don't get stuck on this particular dot. I used to have a mentor who said this, don't get stuck on the dot, Clara, right? Because I can get really hyper focused on something being perfect. Don't get stuck on the dot, right? Doesn't matter. Get your vision a little bit bigger, have some perspective. So that's my advice for you today. Don't
Yeah.
get stuck on the dot.
Don't get stuck on the dot. I like that. There we
Yes.
go. We're going to remember that, because nothing is ever perfect, because what is perfect anyway?
Right. Perception. It's all about perception. Go find a website for yourself. Go build a website. It's that part of your business, that startup part of your business. It's time. Let the world
Have
know
fun
you
with it.
exist. Yes. By all means, make it color coordinated because that'll make Clara happy.
Have fun. Just don't be too hard on yourself. Have fun. I wonder what would happen if I did this. Explore it and just know that it will evolve and people will come to you anyway.
Yep.
Because they will do. They're after working with you, and the website is always just needs to be good enough in that moment, and it will evolve and it will change just like you will. So
Yep.
yeah, lighten up. Don't get too caught up in it all.
I agree with you. Good stuff, my friend. Okay, if you are new, you know what you don't know what to do, but if you aren't new, hop into the comments below. Please like, please share. If you think there's somebody that you know who could use this message for their new business startup, please share it with them. We will see you again next Wednesday. We're here every Wednesday sharing all sorts of cool stuff for you as a new entrepreneur to make sure that you're building your business using your heart and your mind.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing this time with us. It's been really interesting. Thank you for sharing your stuff, Clara, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.